Masonry and glass rained down near post-festive shoppers as a magnitude 4.9 earthquake rocked Christchurch on New Zealand's South Island today. No one was injured, but at least 20 buildings in the city's centre were damaged by the tremor, which scientists said was the latest of hundreds of aftershocks since a 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck Christchurch on September 4th. The quake caused extensive damage and few injuries, but no deaths. Emergency services and engineers were conducting assessments of the damaged buildings. Many of the worst hit buildings were ones which were already damaged in the September earthquake. The United Kingdom is to put £40 million into a UN fund set up to respond to natural disasters. The money will fill two-thirds of the shortfall in a fund in a year when more than 260 million people in the world were hit by natural disasters.
The international response to two large catastrophes in 2010, the earthquake in Haiti and floods in Pakistan, was slow in coming and poorly coordinated. International Development Secretary Andrew Mitchell has called for a more coordinated response to events. Mr. Mitchell said that a lack of support for the UN Disaster Fund threatened to undermine its ability to deal with future shocks. The Permanent Emergency Response Fund set up after the tsunami is very short of money. The number of people affected by disasters is predicted to rise from 250 million a year to 375 million by 2015. Former Liberal Democrat leader Lord Ashton's review will look at ways to ensure value for money and impact on the ground, and how Department for International Development DFID experts could help improve the international system. It will examine coordinated with the UN humanitarian organizations and the private sector to ensure the UK is helping to make efforts more efficient, effective and well coordinated. How aid is delivered will be reviewed to ensure the right material and equipment is in the right place at the right time. It will also investigate how DFID should coordinate with other government departments and ensure the use of new technologies is maximized.
In the business news as well, we focus on the country's economy after the tsunami. The 2004 Asian tsunami plunged the country's economy hard. The global economic recession of 2009 did not help the recovery either. Ibrahim Zia reports on the country's economy in these past 6 years.
The country's economy was growing on a steady level since 2001, but this was hit hard by the tsunami of 2004. The country's GDP in 2005 fell by 4.6%. With tireless efforts in the construction industry and speed recoveries in the tourism industry, the GDP of the country in 2006 rose by 18%. But the global recession that hit in 2008 made its way to Maldives, and the GDP in 2009 fell by 2.3%. In 2004 and 2005, state revenue was at an average of 5,003 million rupiah. Since 2006, the state revenue saw a steady increase, but this was not due to regular taxing, but due to one-time fees being repaid in large sums. State revenue of 2008 stood at 9,396 million rupiah. This was a 7% increase compared to 2007. But due to the recession, the state revenue fell by 23% in 2009. The Ministry of Finance estimated that the state revenue would be about 8,406 million rupiah. But the ministry has since revised this figure with an 11% decrease in state revenue. From 1995 to 2004, tourism contributed to a third of the nation's economy. Since 2005, tourism contributed to almost 27% of the country's total GDP. The Finance Ministry expects this figure to rise to 28.7% in 2010. In line with the effects of the 2004 tsunami and the 2009 recession, the government now recognizes the need to come out of this high dependency on tourism. The state budget for 2011 states this need and sets out policies to develop other areas which have potential economic growth. This includes fishing and development of exports of fish products.
On 24 December 2004, the General Assembly of the United Nations passed a resolution stating that the Maldives was to graduate from the list of least developed nations to the list of developing nations, giving the country a 3-year transition period. But 2 days later, havoc hit the country, changing this historical decision.
Due to the tsunami, the United Nations General Assembly overturned its previous resolution stating the new date for graduation to 2008. A 3-year transition period was given for the country to adjust to the eliminated amenities of being a least developed country. Since 2008, the country's economy was faced a lot of downfalls, but the government put in new measures to deal with the downfall and has since then made adequate developments to the country's economy. This includes measures to recognize the vulnerability of the economy to its complete dependence on tourism. Since the tsunami, tourism faced a huge downfall and the global economic recessions of 2009 also hit this sector hard. The government has since recognized this and its policies have now been restructured to develop other potential areas of economic growth. This includes the government's decisions to open up the fisheries export market nationwide. With such policies and measures, the United Nations recognized the progress and has since made the decision that Maldives will be put on the list of developing nations starting January 1, 2011.
The Football Association of Maldives says the atoll football competition will not be held in 2011. President of FAM Ali Azim said the tournament was cancelled due to budget constraints, but the association was working on ways to help develop atoll football. He said technical and financial support will be provided to the community football tournaments. These decisions will be finalized in the forum to prepare for the football season of 2011. Jose Mourinho said on Thursday he deserved to be named Coach of the Year and not Spain's World Cup winning coach Vicente Del Bosque. The ever-immodest 47-year-old Real Madrid coach told the Gazzetta dello Sport that he firmly believed that he had achieved more in 2010 when he was in charge of Inter Milan than the Spanish handler who delivered Spain their first World Cup title when they beat the Netherlands 1-0 in July's final. Mourinho, whose successor as coach of Inter, Rafael Benitez, was sacked on Thursday, who also defended his Dutch playmaker at the Inter Wesley Sneijder, who was not even nominated for the Ballon d'Or, an award which, according to the Gazzetta, will go to Barcelona's Spanish playmaker Andres Iniesta. The Ballon d'Or will be announced in Zurich on January 10th. And now look at the national weather update from the Maldives Meteorological Services.